Buenos días, buenas tardes y buenas noches. Bonjour, bonsoir, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be. Jay Slater case. And today I want to look at an incident, a tragic incident that happened last Sunday on the island of Tenerife, just about 3 miles or so north in the direction of Buena Vista del Norte, of where Jay Slater's body was found. And in this tragic incident, a group of four people, man 48 years old, plunged to his death canyoning, but basically going down a barranco, a ravine, severe head trauma, died. That's the outline of the story, and the point of me retelling it will become apparent towards the end of this video. But I just want to deal with this story because there are some details that are mentioned in the local Canaries press that are very important, I think. Details that we never saw emerge from the Jay Slater case when that was dealt with. So without further ado, let's go have a look at the article. So as always, it is many thanks to Man on the Ground Noah that spotted this. And there are plenty of things that Noah has been sending me that I haven't had a chance to turn to. But this one, yeah, this one really caught my eye. So let's try to find the article in El Dia. I won't go through the first part because I've really told you the first part. Emergency services called in the group of four, the way I understand it, three of them got injured in this ravine. They were rescued by one group of rescue workers. The man that plunged to his death was rescued by, well, not rescued, but his body was retrieved and hoisted aboard the helicopter by another group. But in comparison to the Jay Slater case, this is why we have to look at the details very, very carefully. And in the part of the article, and this will be linked to the video, of course, you can read it at your leisure. It does go through step by step what happened in this rescue. And I'll say it again. We had none of this detail with Jay Slater, so I'll just put out the all important question: why? Why is it in this particular case we've got this dead body, we've got this rescue mission, we've got some details? Why did we get nothing like that in the Jay Slater case, which was a much, obviously, statement of the obvious, much, much bigger case? It is odd that you get so much more detail in what is a lesser known case. You would have thought it would be the other way around. But in Spanish, it does say rescate en parada cardiorrespiratoria por el helicóptero del GES. Now, this group, I really should do a feature on them because this is not the Guardia Civil doing the retrieval of the body operation. This is a group called GES, GES in Spanish, Grupo de Emergencias y Salvamento, group of emergencies and saving people. Emergency rescue group, you might call it. And yeah, I really should do something on this because they're a separate organization. They have different bases on the different islands of the Canary Islands. They must surely have bases in Spain too. But they do specialize in particular, people that have, let's say, got themselves in a tight spot in a remote area. And this group, I mean, very well equipped. I went on their website and they are funded, I think, 85% from the European Union. They have helicopters, and one of their helicopters was used in this case. They were called in by one of the injured party that gave their location. Helicopter found them. And what it says is efectivos del grupo a bordo de un helicóptero de rescate. So the members of this group aboard the helicopter, junto a, along with, or alongside, members of the Consorcio de Bomberos de Tenerife. So as we read that word for word, we can see that aboard this helicopter is not just the rescue group, the GES, but the ubiquitous, it seems, the firefighters, the bomberos, not the bombarderos, as a certain fretinous one from West Wales has once called firefighters. They are not the bombardiers or the bombers, they are the firefighters, the bomberos. So you got the firefighters and the rescue group on this helicopter. Lograron descender mediante maniobras verticales. They succeeded in going down or lowering themselves straight down hasta el punto exacto, to the exact spot del accidente, of the accident. Los rescatistas localizaron al varón de 48 años. So the rescuers located the man, 48 years old, quien presentaba un fuerte traumatismo, who had fuerte traumatismo craneal. So sounds like what the pathologist said about Jay Slater, severe trauma to the head, fuerte traumatismo craneal, y se encontraba en parada cardiorrespiratoria, with his heartbeat had stopped. Pese a que los especialistas del GES y los bomberos le practicaron de inmediato maniobras básicas de reanimación cardiopulmonar. Yeah, despite trying to resuscitate the man with basic CPR, los esfuerzos resultaron estériles. Attempts failed, confirmándose su fallecimiento. His death was confirmed en el lugar, on the spot, in that place, debido a que presentaba lesiones incompatibles con la vida, given that he had no signs of life whatsoever. Or lesiones incompatibles con la vida, yeah, injuries so severe that there was no sign of life. Now, even in that section there, the point I'm making here is we have detail far and away beyond what was given in the Jay Slater case. And we were told it was the Guardia Civil helicopters that went in. And I don't recall any detail like that at all. I mean, just in that section there, we're told that there are firefighters and the rescue group on board this helicopter. We're told that they managed to descend straight down to where the body was, that there was, even though it was a very remote, and we always get this word, inaccessible place, they managed to go straight down to the body. We were then given details of the injury. Okay, so this guy has recently died, and it might be, I'm guessing, more apparent when you've got a recent death, what the cause of death is. If his, I mean, I hate to be blunt, but if his head is all smashed in. But they did report on that. They did report on, in the press, what injury they saw and what happened thereafter. So even from that small section, plenty of information that was missing, of course, from the Jay Slater case. Let us go back to the article, because then they give some interesting details on what happened immediately after that. Activación judicial y evacuación del grupo en Buenavista del Norte. So that subheading means judicial authority given for the group to be evacuated up into Buenavista del Norte. And it sounds like from that subheading that some kind of judicial authority has to be given for, I guess, for the survivors, the living people, to be moved away, and where they're going to go to. It seems to be this coordinated effort. And I guess the judicial authorities have to give the green light for the victim, the dead man, to be moved to. De forma paralela, otro grupo de bomberos y agentes de la Guardia Civil ascendieron a pie hasta la zona escarpada para realizar los trámites legales oportunos. So In parallel to that, another group of firefighters, and here we have the Guardia Civil, another group of firefighters and civil guard, Guardia Civil, um, on foot, went up to the steep area, the steep area, the slope area, to carry out the steps needed. Um, Tras recibir, just one moment, los trámites legales oportunos, tras recibir la correspondiente autorización judicial. Yeah, so after receiving the appropriate judicial authority, el cuerpo del fallecido, this is now going back to the dead man, the body of the dead man, fue izado. Izado was hoisted. Yeah, it was lifted up. It was raised. It was izado, trasladado por la vía aérea, and transferred by air, por el helicóptero, by the helicopter, by the rescue group helicopter, hasta la, all the way to la helisuperficie, the helipad del municipio, of the municipality of La Guancha. Wherever La Guancha is, I don't know where La Guancha is. But here we are told, step by step, what happened. And I guess what happens generally in this situation. Legal authority is given, and the body is hoisted aboard the helicopter, and it's taken to a helipad, and that is located in the municipality of La Guancha, quedando a disposición de la autoridad judicial, where the judicial authorities then took over. Los equipos de emergencia completaron además la evacuación terrestre. The other group carried out the evacuation of the survivors. 3 of them. We can leave that part of it behind because they too are taken to a separate location. I think it says they're taken to El Campo de Golf de Buenavista del Norte. So the 3 survivors, they're taken to the golf course at Buenavista del Norte. What else did it say here? That's about it. But as I say, I can link the article and you can read it at your leisure. But what caught my eye was the detail that was in there that was never presented in the Jay Slater case. And it does obviously beg the question, why did we have no details like this? Why was there no step-by-step analysis, description, and storyline, if you like, about how the body was found, where it was taken to, and what happened after that? As far as I know in the Jay Slater case, we were told nothing. We were told absolutely nothing. Like Guardia Civil found the body, and that's it. That's all we were told, I think. Maybe it was all in the 600 pages that Debbie received, that full report. But if it were considered information that was, for the eyes only of the family, then why in this case, we also have a deceased man, 48 years old, why have they printed all that if it's of such a sensitive nature? Doesn't make any sense. What is also interesting is that accompanying this article, and I will put again the link to it, I believe it clicks onto a Facebook video, and in that Facebook video you can see the helicopter of the GES group coming over. You can see it up there in action. You can see the bomberos or the rescue group going along the path there, and this is typical. There's another rescue that I've seen from a few months ago where it's the same thing. You see the rescue group in action, either going down carrying a stretcher, but they are filmed present and carrying out their operation. Conspicuous by its absence. We see nothing of that with Jay Slater. Going back to those 2 Ukrainians, and we haven't had an update on that. The 2 Ukrainians that died very mysteriously in a place called Benico. There we had film, we had footage again of these rescue groups struggling down a steep slope, trying to do their job as best they can. It seems to me only and uniquely in the Jay Slater case do we have nothing. Stock footage that could have been from any time, anywhere. Just as, by the way, the GES group also have. They have stock footage showing the people what they do. If you click on their website, you can see a helicopter and rescue operation. But in this case I've just told you about, yeah, it was all unique, and it seems to be that way with every case, apart from Jay Slater. Why? So at this point, this is where I say this is part 4, part 5, whatever part we're on, of why so many of us think that the Jay Slater case is not purely accidental. And it is because in the description or in the follow up to how Jay's body was located, how Jay's body was retrieved, what happened to Jay after that, we get zero information. And it isn't conspiratorial to say, well, that means there's something more than an accident here, because we have these other cases, these other incidents, these other tragedies where so much more information is given. And these other cases are of less renown, we can say. I can't say of less importance. I mean, they are less focused on by the press, by the public, by the world in general, and yet we get more detail. So, just to wrap this one up, I would say another massive red flag, now addressing the accident group. Another red flag for us is that when you carefully read through other cases similar to Jay's, and it doesn't get much more similar than a guy in a ravine that plunges to his death, head injury, can't be resuscitated, hoisted up to the helicopter, taken over to the helipad at La Guanchat, wherever that is. It doesn't get more similar to what happened to Jay, we're told, and yet this case, lots of information, 2 or 3 different newspapers reporting the same thing, the GES group releasing the details. Jay Slater, Guardia Civil, and no one else, it would seem, involved. I mean, maybe that makes a difference. Maybe if the firefighters are on board a helicopter with the Guardia Civil, the firefighters make sure that all of this information gets out there. I don't know. I'm just saying, for us, it's a big red flag when the Guardia Civil are involved uniquely and we hear nothing. GES group go in with the firefighters. We hear everything. Yeah, maybe a separate part has to be done on other red flags that the Guardia Civil themselves presented to us. I mean, that could be parts 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. But at least as far as the description of what happened when Jay's body was located, we can safely say it is unusual. In the Jay Slater case, we were given zero information. I think there's a reason for that. It could be because Guardia Civil didn't actually do what they said they did. Could be other reasons. Let's leave it there. Okay, hasta luego, hasta la vista. See you next time. Adios.